Hi guys, today's video. I really don't even know how to prep, but know that this part is very important to watch this clip before you watch the next, because the two are filmed in completely different timelines. The clips you're about to watch was me in July thinking that this was going to be my home. A home that I had spent designing for almost the last year while I was in Florida. Now, what you're not going to get out of this video, and then the following video after that, are all of the details. That's actually coming out in my autobiography. I talk about how much money I lost with the Florida. Details are in my book. You can pre-order it from Etsy, by the way. Link below, just FYI. But this was only a month ago when we thought we were moving into this home. I had put down so much earnest money. This was a construction home. I spent so much time picking everything out. And all of me flying back to Dallas was me checking the progress of this home. So when you guys kept asking me, was I coming there to shop for homes? No, I wasn't shopping for homes. I wasn't looking for homes because I already had one. However, that's not what's working out right now. More updates to follow. We're not actually moving into this house. I'm very gutted. A lot has transpired. We're moving into a different home. You guys will get the tour of all of that. But I was so happy. This home really kept me going in Florida. Let me tell you. And when I realized that this was not going to happen, and I had this footage, and I watched it back, and I saw the joy in my face, I thought, I don't want to waste this. I couldn't. I felt like I just needed to put it out there anyway. But I have some very interesting updates with that I'll talk about another time. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and release this footage of me talking about this house. I'm also gonna show you the empty house tour, even though you will not see me living in this house. I really don't know why I'm doing this to myself, if I'm being honest. It's kind of like I'm probably just making it worse for myself, because the thought of not living in it when I was supposed to be living in it by now. We were supposed to have closed and moved in July, and yeah. Unfortunately, the cost for this really ended up being me getting screwed on the Florida house. Yeah. Good times. Good equity times. All of those numbers will be, in case you're wondering, how much money I put in, how much money I lost. It's a punch in the gut. Reading my autobiography, I don't think is going to be like a sunshine. Just throwing that out there. But anyways, I digress. Just wanted to prep you guys, let you know what you're about to watch. There you go. But the house we are moving into is gorgeous and stunning, and we're very excited for it. But it's not this house. And I'm still actually dealing with that mentally. But anyways, here you go. Hi guys. I've been keeping a secret. I've been keeping a huge secret. But let's go in. Alright, so the day that I'm filming this, it's actually the 4th of July. And the echo is just unfortunately going to be part of today's video, because it's a completely empty house. Now, I've been keeping this secret since September, It's been a while. It has been the weirdest, regretful, yet grateful, yet knowing it all was just, I guess, my journey, my path that I needed to take. And I'm filming in my brand new house. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the secret since September, since most of you knew from the get-go that I wanted to move back home? Well, the secret is that I had this house built. Everything, I get chills. Everything you see in this one shot, I selected. The cabinets, the backsplash, the countertops, everything. Everything in this house. You're gonna get an empty house tour. That's not gonna be in today's video because I wanted to just kind of talk about my secret and let that out first. And then I wanted to have a fully dedicated, proper house tour. When I look back at all of my house tours, I always ended up being so overwhelmed with moving that I would move in and I would still have like stuff in, you know, and it just wasn't like completely empty space. So I'm actually going to be filming that today as well. But I wanted to talk about the secret, and I know a lot of this is in my autobiography and or some of it. There's actually still a chance I could remove it just because I don't know when things are getting released, and I'm kind of bold, if I'm being honest, filming this right now because I could still kind of be in a place where I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to speak it into existence, but I wanted to just talk about what started happening when I realized I moved to Florida, and I knew, sadly, as much as it hurts to admit it, as much as a punch in the gut that it felt when I moved to Florida, and I felt it like a wave. I was like, oh no, this is not for me. And you live, you learn. And because I had just bought that house and I had just moved, if I'm being honest, I actually don't remember the moment that I was like, let me build a house. Like, I never thought that, because if anything, I actually was the kind of home buyer where a new construction in my head seemed out of reach or too intimidating. And so because of that, I just never really considered it. Ironically, both of the homes that I've owned, I was always the second buyer. This one, I am the first. And yeah, and it's funny because I feel like there are times where I look back at certain things and it's almost like I can see that instead of me making the move, it was like God making the move through me. If you've had a similar experience, you probably know what I'm talking about. Because when I look back, I'm like, wait, what prompted me to like do a new construction? Like I don't even recall this at all. But next thing I know, I'm doing it. And when I came into this particular lot, the frame of the house was already going up, but I did pick the floor plan from this particular builder. And the area that I'm in, it's not all the same builder. So builders buy certain lots within a certain neighborhood, and I chose one particular builder, and I'll probably be talking about them because they were absolutely amazing. But I fell in love with this floor plan. When I saw it, I was like, this is the floor plan for me. And what's crazy is that when I came into this house, I came in just at the right time, because when you do a new construction, they have to order materials ahead of time. And because of that, I just never really considered it. Ironically, both of the homes that I've owned, I was always the second buyer. This one, I am the first. And when I came into this house, I was like, this is the floor plan for me. And when I came in just at the right time, because when you do a new construction, they have to order materials At the time, there was a June completion of this home, and this factored in delay of products, just in case anything was back ordered. So this house actually ended up finishing in May. Now I wanted to live here in May. It's July. So moving to Florida, I just knew immediately it wasn't gonna be for me. And next thing I know, I'm like, well, let me build a home. The thought of having to turn right back around and sell my house and move and everything, I guess I just thought, let me just spend the year here, wait for this new construction to finish, and then it'll all just kind of fit into place. But let me tell you, it has been a nail-biting experience, and I have struggled. I would say the first 6 months, this is month 7 of 2023, were not good for me. I definitely had amazing moments, I will say, but I had more downs than I had ups, and so it's been a rough go. And I'm feeling, despite all that, I am feeling so optimistic about the second half of this year. So I'm very excited. I'm very grateful for everything. So anyways, point is, when I came to this house, the frame was already going up, and I came in just at the right time where I could get with the interior designer of the builder and start picking out everything. So it happened super quick, and I was so stressed out, you guys, because I have never picked anything inside of a home. Never. I've always gone into a home where it had already been done for me. And I thought back to the house that we all love, the house before Florida, and what I liked and didn't like about it. And then, if I'm being honest, I didn't really like anything about the Florida house except the view and the palm trees. That was it. Interior wise, it just didn't complement me as well as I thought it would, and I never connected with the house. It never felt like home. So when I had 2 days, I had 2 meetings with my interior designer, because I literally came in at like the nick of time. And this was one of the last floor plans in the lot, in the section neighborhood that I really wanted to be in. And so it was crazy. It was a crazy whirlwind doing it. It was like, oh my God, I just moved to Florida and I'm having these meetings to design this house. And I wasn't really sure of myself at first. It happened so quick, I didn't even really have time to I never once thought about it, Whenever I decorate, I think about the decor, not the structure of the home, even though how many times have you heard me say when decorating that you can, there's no rules, never mind me saying that, but I like decorating where the decor matches the home itself. You can have a farmhouse style home, you can have a modern style home, or a contemporary, all those things. And if you try to mix, which is fine because you could go eclectic, but for me, I was just like, oh my God, what do I do? So the first day with the interior designer, which was through FaceTime, I was in Florida, and that was also the hardest part, because seeing color through a phone, it's not the same, and it's scary as hell. So the very first phone-based consultation, as she's walking around, they have this whole model home where it has all of the samples, all of the, options. And I was just so I don't even know. I didn't even know what the hell I wanted this house to look like. So that night I basically got on Pinterest and I was like, what do I want? And I started thinking about the house before Florida and what I liked and what I didn't like. And one of the things that I did not like about that house was that the first owners who went into it as a construction picked a lot of grays. If you guys remember, even the island was gray, and gray is not for me, okay? I'm wearing a gray hat. Clothing's fine. House, no. Then I found out that the brick of the home on the outside had already been chosen, and there was nothing I could do about it. And it was the brick I hated the most. And I was just like, that changes everything. You think it wouldn't, but it does. You know, you want your home to be cohesive. And it was a Silver Creek, which is like a white. It's not pure white, but it's like a white brick. And the shingles were gonna be black. And I was just like, no, I hate this color. And I knew because Silver Creek is more of a modern style brick, not traditional. Traditional, you get those reds, you get those browns, you get those like, you know, when you do the mix of brick and then stone, that was my favorite. That was actually what my home looked like. And that's what's interesting is my favorite home, which, so we know, was the one before Florida, the one with the media room and lock-see and all that stuff. That home externally was so me. It was brown, it was gorgeous, it was the two stone and the brick, but inside it was bizarre because it was like they chose gray and it didn't flow naturally for me. So I digress. Now, of course I could have DIY'd and redone things, but I'm honestly like, I love Dollar Tree DIYs. I don't love home DIYs. I'm not trying to be here. I'm trying to be here. Like, you can't even see the DIY. DIY to the ground. Like, simplest level is me. I'm not a DIY queen. You know what I mean? I definitely, when I look for a home, I look for it to be move-in ready. Your girl doesn't even want to paint. She doesn't. But I will be actually playing with wallpaper, but that's another story. So anyways, point is, when I found out about this brick, I was like, oh my God, I begged, I pleaded to change it, but once it's ordered, it's ordered. And so I was just like, okay, but thank God that it worked out the way that it did, because I'm now in love with Silver Creek. I'm in love, like I get chills. I'm in love with the black shingles. I started picking based off of that. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go more in a modern route with cozy traditional. I really don't know what to call it, if I'm being honest. It has a hint of a farmhouse vibe for sure. But more modern farmhouse than anything. And so I knew the first thing immediately, I knew what I wanted my floors to look like, which you saw a little sneak peek. So one thing I did love about the Florida house were the floors. And I learned when I bought the Florida house that it was like, it looks like wood, but it's not, it's tile. And that is honestly the dream for me. When people buy real hardwood floors, I'm like, ooh, because I'm thinking about how you can't, water, like dog scratches, like, and it's so expensive. I'm like, that just scares me. But tile, you can steam mop, you can clean it any which way. Loki can't do anything to it. Now you could drop something, it could crack. That could happen. But so I started with the floors, and then, I picked everything. I know you guys aren't seeing much, and this is a teaser, but down to the kitchen sink, the faucet, the fixtures, the fireplace is kind of weird. I went more traditional in that route. Somehow I'm thinking, did I do my fireplace wrong? There's a chance in the future I could be updating my fireplace, but you'll see that in the house tour. Other than that, I feel like I nailed every single space. Micah joined one of my calls with the interior designer. I think we ended up having 3 actually. So the first one wasn't successful because I just didn't know. we just started talking about the basic things, and I was just like, what do I want this house to look like? And then Micah actually, this sounds weird, but she really unleashed the floodgates because I let her decide what she wanted like her bathroom to look like, and she picked this beautiful tile. It's very similar, now this is all white, but the tile she picked has this like pearly oystery look to it, so it still very much flows with this house. This house is very neutral, and that's another big key thing I wanted. I wanted there to be enough of a facelift, enough of character, but I also wanted it to be neutral in the sense that I could just decorate and change my decorations. I didn't want, you know, to have purple this or, you know, blue that, and I've seen it. I've seen people, like for example, the interior designer was like, okay, you know, a big popular thing right now is having the cabinets on top be one color and the cabinets on the bottom, I'll just go ahead and tilt you guys down, the cabinets on the bottom be another color. And I was just like, no, not for me. And then obviously having the kitchen island be a different color is also a big deal. And I've seen a lot of people do navy, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty, but God, to me, that's such a restricting color personally, because I love decor so much. So when I was picking everything, I was keeping the love I have for seasonal decor in mind. And I did choose a different color island. You guys will see it all. One of the biggest things I struggled with was this freaking countertop. I probably spent the most time, over an hour, with my interior designer on FaceTime choosing this. I had no idea, honestly, how hard it would be. You think it's easy, but when it's your home and you're like, wait, I'm choosing all this, like it's wild. I chose my staircase, I chose my carpet, I chose my floor, I chose the white paint that's on this house. And that was another big thing. Micah was like, can we please have a house where the paint on the walls are white? And I kind of agreed with Micah on that one, because every house we seem to move into and buy, people seem to choose this white gray. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do the gray. Now I went with like bright white, and I think it was the right decision for sure. But there's also green. I also have black tile in places. I have one room that's painted all black. But one big thing is that I also got to choose like the front door. And when we originally chose the front door, I was still thinking traditional in a lot of ways. And I was thinking of my front door from my favorite home, the one before Florida. And I was so in love with that door, and it was brown and it had the wrought iron, and it swoon. I will say, in case you guys have wondered, I have not driven by that house. Micah might have, but I can't do it. I can't stomach it. I'm not ready. So anyways, I digress. So I had chosen a door very similar, and then it hits me. I'm like, I cannot choose that door. But the door had already been ordered, and I'm like, this house is not traditional, it's modern. And I had to, and man, my builders, they just, I can't wait to talk about them. I will be releasing their name because they deserve all the attention, all the credit, because my builder and my sales guy, I couldn't have been luckier. There's no way. What they've done for me, which I'll talk about, will blow your mind, truly. But the point is, the door had already been ordered and they changed it. It was already in production and they still changed it for me. I'm not saying that that's gonna happen for everybody, and it might not have happened for me, but they were so kind to change the door for me. And it sounds like it's a door. But really, when you're building a house, some things just like, as the frame was done and then they started coming in with everything, she had submitted everything perfectly, down to the cabinet itself. Now, there's different style cabinets. I should have done the other kind where this is like pushed in. It's kind of hard to describe, but there's so many freaking options and it's so overwhelming and confusing, and you're like, oh my God, like there's different cabinets, like I don't even freaking know. And as I was traveling and coming back and seeing the things getting put in, the woman never got it wrong. Not one thing was missed incorrectly. So when I was asked, am I looking for a house? I had said, no, I'm not looking for a house. That was because I already had one. And that was a really tough secret to hold back, but I just felt like anything could have happened, and you know, all of this was really riding on the Florida house, and that just took way more time than it should have, and that was very stressful, and I'll be talking about that as well. I think if any video is probably going to be the most watched, it's going to be me really tell you guys what went down with all that, and I'm going to talk numbers. I'm going to tell you, because I don't want someone else to make the same mistakes that I did, because it's gut-wrenching. But I digress. So moving on. So they changed the front door for me, and I'll show you guys. I mean, you saw part of it, but once I started to accept the brick and that I was going in a more modern route, I knew exactly how I was going to decorate this house, and it's going to be so different from what you're used to. But the biggest room that I can't wait for you to see is my office. My office was such a hit with this builder that like they showed it to everyone as a model home. They've been showing this home as the model home. The VP of this builder came and walked through this house, and they're all obsessed with how I chose my office. And my office is my favorite room in the entire house. And that's saying a lot, because this kitchen is everything. The dining room, my bedroom, Micah's upstairs right now, the entryway, catwalks, and don't worry, I'm not gonna make you wait very long for the tour. It could be following this video for all I know. I just really wanted to have a dedicated video of talking about this and letting you guys know that I have been keeping this big secret, but for good reason. Because, you know, what's the saying? Don't count your chickens before they hatch, or some shit. Or do they hatch, or do they not hatch, or they go in a basket? I don't know. I just didn't want to do that. And I wanted really to protect this whole process and just kind of keep my own energy in it, if that makes sense. I don't know if anyone resonates with that, but I really wanted to have the purest, most positive energy with this. And I'm happy to tell you guys that when I walk in here, I get so freaking emotional, but when I walk in here, I get the same feeling that when I walk through my favorite house. I never got that walking through the Florida house. I felt disconnected. It doesn't matter. It goes to show, it doesn't matter what a home value is, or how big, or where it's at, and golf course, and it doesn't matter. I have views of power lines. Okay? So it doesn't matter. A home, you can't always make a house a home. It's just something that you feel and you connect. And it could be as simple as a cozy little cabin cottage, or a cozy apartment, or a high rise, or a small home, or a massive home for some people. And I am days from moving. It has been the toughest secret to keep. All the phone calls, and then after, you guys, after the interior design, it was weekly phone calls with my builder and my sales guys. They were keeping me updated on the insulation that was going in and the electrical that was going in. I was sending my brother here when I couldn't be here, when they were putting in the electrical and they needed the approval of where all even where all these things are. You get approval, do they need to be moved, you know, stuff like that. And it just, and my brother would come and check everything out, and then I started wanting to be here all the time. Once frame and insulation, once drywall went up, I wanted to be here all the time. And as I started to see everything come in, and I didn't see the floors for the longest time. Once the floors came in, they then covered them up immediately, so I never got to see them for the longest time. And I have beams, like, I should have done beams in my bedroom. I didn't. It was how building works is that they have a price on what they say this home is worth. From that price, they basically pick certain packages built into that price. They're like, okay, this house is worth $750,000. So that includes level 3 floors. But if I choose level 1 floors, then I get credit back. Then the value drops a little bit. But then I could have chosen level 4 floors and it goes up a little bit. And that's with everything. That's with cabinets and tile. So I feel like most of what I chose ended up being under the level of what was built into the original price of the house. So anyways, I hope that makes sense. And yeah, because like my countertops I think are definitely like level 1 or 2, because I didn't do like the fancy marble. I forget what this is, but I forget what material this is, but it's like not a marble, but it's maybe a marble. I don't freaking know. Point is, I got a lot of a credit back because the original price of the house had like level 3 countertops and I chose like a level 1 or 2 or something. Now, you're not seeing any knobs. You're also going to eventually see that I don't have chandeliers in all the places. That's a whole different topic. I'll be having an electrician come in and dropping things here and there. And there's also no blinds. That's not part of the home building, at least not this builder. I'm sure there's more custom builders. So I have to decide what I want my blinds to look like. Honestly, if I even want blinds, I really don't know where I think I might do like the shades, kind of very similar to the Florida house, but all in due time. I know I'm talking about things you can literally not see, but I at least wanted you to get a sneak peek of the kitchen. Let me double ovens. So I'm so excited for this. At this point, I'm like under 2 weeks away from everything just being over. A long-awaited secret, something that I did not like keeping, but I knew that it was for the best. And I can't believe I did this. I cannot believe I built a new construction. I chose everything. And something about that makes Florida and everything all worthwhile. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Finally releasing my secret out, and I'll see you. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your bell. YouTube will let you know as soon as my video is up, and I'm gonna give you guys the tour of my dream home.